Welcome to Time of Death. This video is for informational purposes and in no way meant to glorify or condone violence. In today's video, we'll be discussing the murder of Trevor Tremaine Robinson. Robinson was shot and killed on Thursday, August 22, 2013, in the 800 block of West Colden Avenue in the Vermont Vista neighborhood of South LA, according to LA County coroner records. Sergio Villalobos was subsequently arrested and charged with the murder. The following is the evidence at trial. Defendant was a member of South Los, a Hispanic street gang with the moniker Junior. An African-American gang called Hoovers or Hoover Criminals is a rival of South Los. On the night of August 22, 2013, defendant borrowed a white Yukon and drove it into Hoover's territory in South LA. Brianna Hernandez and her boyfriend Carlos Hernandez, known as Rowdy, also a South Los gang member, followed defendant in a silver car driven by Brianna. Brianna testified that an unidentified passenger with a bald head was with defendant. Rowdy had told Brianna they were going to follow defendant because defendant was passing by his enemy side of town and that he saw them and they were going to go bust a mission. Brianna understood this to mean that defendant and Rowdy were going to, quote, put in work for their hood, meaning either go and shoot or something like that. At approximately 10 p.m., several African Americans were with their friends and neighbors outside an apartment building near Colden and Vermont Avenues, including Latasha, Masio, and Trevor Robinson. Masio saw an SUV pull up abruptly and an arm with a gun reach out of the passenger side window. Masio later identified the passenger as resembling defendant. Masio heard a shot and turned to run, but a bullet grazed his head. He believed he heard at least 2 shots. Victim Trevor jumped off the gate and tried to run, but he was hit in the back and suffered a fatal wound. Latasha ducked on the ground until the shot stopped. When she looked up, she saw a white SUV driving away. Brianna, who had stopped the silver car behind the SUV, followed it, then drove in a different direction, eventually meeting up with it at a shopping center. Defendant and his passenger exited the SUV and got into the silver car. Brianna got out of the silver car and entered the SUV and drove it to Liquorland at Imperial in Vermont. Defendant told Brianna to drive the SUV to throw cops off because no females would have been seen inside the SUV when the shooting occurred. On the way to the liquor store, Brianna picked up a young South Los gang member known as Snaps Chrissy. Rowdy drove the silver car behind the SUV. When they arrived at Liquorland, Brianna and Snaps Chrissy exited the SUV and got into the silver car with Rowdy. They went to a gas station across the street where defendant gave Rowdy a .38 special revolver. Rowdy dropped off defendant, Snaps Chrissy, and the bald-headed man. Brianna testified that Rowdy then drove to his home, where he removed all the shell casings from the revolver, smashed the casings with a hammer, and discarded them in the trash. Later that night, LA County Sheriff's deputies located the unoccupied SUV in the Liquorland parking lot. The deputies observed the SUV's owner, Naomi Jackson, and a male companion get into the vehicle. Naomi and the man were detained and placed into the deputy's patrol car. As one of the deputies approached the driver's seat, he heard Naomi say, "I hope they didn't leave anything in the car." Detective Peter McCoy of the LAPD interviewed Naomi at the station. A recording of the interview was played for the jury. Naomi waived her Miranda rights and eventually admitted that she had loaned the SUV to her friend Junior. She identified defendant as Junior both at trial and from a photograph during her interview with detectives. On September 11, 2013, a team of LAPD officers went to Imperial Highway to conduct surveillance on defendant. Defendant was spotted walking to a bus stop near a gas station. When the officers pulled up, defendant ran. LAPD officer Noel Magpock observed defendant running with a stainless steel semi-automatic handgun. At some point during the chase, defendant turned into a driveway and became cornered. Officer Magpock drew his pistol and told defendant drop the handgun. Defendant threw the gun he was holding over the fence and assumed a fighting stance with his fist raised in front of his chest. Defendant was eventually tackled by several officers, ignoring Officer Magpock's commands to stop resisting, and was arrested. The gun defendant threw over the fence was recovered. Defendant was interviewed by LAPD Detective McCoy on the day of his arrest. A recording of the interview was played for the jury. Defendant waived his Miranda rights. He stated that he used to be a member of South Los with the moniker Little Spanky and denied being called anything else. He denied being in a white SUV or borrowing a car. He also denied being involved in the shooting, stating that at the time of the shooting he was either sleeping at the home of his baby's mom in Silver Lake or at a Dodgers game. He told the detective he had heard who had done the shooting and could really help the detective, even get him a promotion. Defendant's cell phone records show that on August 21st, 2013, the day before the shooting, defendant received text messages that a homie got hit last night by the Snoochies and was in critical condition. Snoochies is a derogatory term referring to members of Hoover. Defendant's phone records also showed that 2 minutes after the shooting, defendant had multiple calls with the same cell phone that had sent the text messages. After analyzing defendant's cell phone data and cell tower locations, an LAPD detective opined that on August 22, 2013, at 8:16 p.m. and 10:12 p.m., defendant's cell phone was located 4 streets away from the site of the shooting. 3 fingerprints obtained from the SUV's front passenger side window matched defendant's fingerprints. A criminalist with the LAPD who examined the firearm and the magazine recovered in this case, as well as the projectile found in the victim's body, opined that the projectile from the victim's body was not fired from the gun recovered at the time of defendant's arrest. Following the trial, the jury convicted defendant Sergio Villalobos of 4 felonies: first-degree murder, attempted premeditated murder, possession of a firearm by a felon, and resisting an executive officer, and found true the gun and gang allegations. Defendant was sentenced to a total term of 210 years to life in state prison. Trevor Tremaine Robinson was 22 years old at the time of death.